So we are back now to the very artwork, and let me move this over a bit so we can capture everything. The artwork here is what we produced last video, and so what we're going to do now is create a new canvas, if you will. And what we'll do is we'll go to File, New, okay, and now we'll go ahead and use these dimensions right here, 1000 by 2000 pixels, 72 screen resolution, RGB white background. If you need to enter all this, please go ahead and stop this video until these are entered and then go ahead and press create. And there we are. Okay, so let's go ahead and then talk more about the brush tool, which is a very important tool, very intense, very complex, but very, as I said, very important. All right, let's go ahead and click on the brush icon right here. And I did make some changes prior, so I'm going to go back to, well, that's the beauty of this area right here. This is the recently used tool, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this one right here and go back to what is somewhat of a normal brush. All right, so I would like to kind of explain about this area right here, this whole, I guess you want to call it a control panel for the brushes. As I explained to you, this kind of controls the width of the brush, the roundness of the brush. This controls the size. This controls the hardness. Well, what are these? Well, this area here and this area here, these are actually controllable areas for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and start something right away. First of all, I want to draw your attention to this socket right here. Okay, so let's talk about this area right here. This is preset brushes that you've already used before. So if you don't want that area, okay, so if you click here and you can go ahead and uncheck where it says right here. Click Show Recent Brushes right here. Click on it and there it is. If you want it back, there it is right here. And why is that important? Well, because sometimes we all have our favorite brushes, just like we have our favorite fonts. We want to use the same brushes. So recent brushes kind of help memorize which brushes that you've used beforehand. Maybe you want to bring that back because, I mean, literally there are thousands of brushes, thousands of options that you can use. Like I said, brush tool is pretty complex, but there's a better way of doing that rather than just using this. For me, I'll just keep it there. It doesn't bother me, so why not? All right, the next part is this area right here, and as you can see, we've got legacy, we got general brushes, we got all these folders over here. Now what I can do, of course, is I can actually move this up. I can go to general brushes and I can guide it up. Now at this point, if I let go here, it's going to be inside the legacy brush folder. But what I wanted is right on top of it. You see that blue line? Now it tells me that the general brushes will end up on top of the legacy brushes. So I'm going to let go, and there it is right there. So if I was to move dry brushes here, dry media, and again, if I let go right here with the blue surrounding the legacy, it's going to end up inside. Okay, let's go ahead and expand it. See, there it is right there, and we do not want that. So I want it right on top of legacy. There's that single blue line. Let it go, and boom, there it is. So you can arrange it in any way you want. Now, what if I want to delete some of these brushes? Okay, let's just do that. Let's go ahead and let's go click all of them. Okay, let's go ahead and say we want to delete all of them. So press and hold the shift key, click on the first folder, second folder, third folder, fourth folder, fifth folder. Let me try something. I guess no, it won't let me click and drag. Okay, so it doesn't do it that way. And what I'm going to do now is click on the socket tool and I'm going to delete this brush. Here we go. Delete all the groups. And it's going to ask me, are you sure? I'm going to press OK, and they're all gone. All these are the shortcuts. Now the brushes didn't really get deleted, but these are shortcuts to the brushes that are in memory. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring them back. So if I click on the socket tool, and then if I click on, let's see, where is it? Well, I hope there it is. Append default brushes. So when you do click on the brush tool, I guess control panel, uh, it comes with certain things that are by default. So we're going to go ahead and click on append default brushes, click on it, and there they are again. No problem. But notice that legacy is still not there. Now if I want legacy, which by the way is an amazing group of brushes, I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, did I do something? I think I accidentally special effects brushes. Well, that shouldn't be there. So I'm just going to bring this down, way down here. There, this time I've got the vertical blue line below the wet media brushes folder and let go. Okay, good enough, but I guess you can go ahead and order it any way you like. So now, I guess where I kind of left off was, what if I wanted to I guess the legacy brush I was talking about is an amazing group of brushes. So if I want that back, I click on the socket and I click on legacy brushes right there. It's in its own little league. So I'm going to click there, and do I want to restore it? Yes, I do. I press OK, and there it is. It appears. But what if I wanted to create another folder? What if I wanted to have another set of folders that has brushes that I favor? All right, well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's click on this socket and let's go ahead and see if we can go ahead and create a new brush group. Okay, new brush group, click on it, and now it's going to ask me what it is. So I'm going to type in favorite brushes and press OK. There it is right there. And I can also rename it by right clicking rename group, or up here it also has rename group. So if I want it, I'm going to go ahead and call it Mr. Haig's favorite brushes. There we go. Now you can call it anything you'd like. You can say um, you know brushes for web design, brushes for video production, brushes for birthdays, whatever the case may be. So whatever it is that is for your purpose, it's your world, you can do whatever you like. All right, so now the problem is here is, now how do we create those brushes? Well, you don't. Well, you can. Let me better explain by showing you. So let's go to general. Okay, now here we have two. We have a soft round and we have a hard round. So what I can do here is I can actually, now watch this. I'm going to go ahead and click here. This brush automatically gets up here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and collapse this folder, and I'm going to click on this folder. Now Photoshop will still have that brush in memory over here because that's the last thing we selected. Now remember, in the previous video I created a brush that looks kind of like this at 45 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and about mid hardness at, let's see, about say 60. Let's go to 60. Can't ever get 60. I'm just going to type in 60, 60. Okay, there it is right there, 60. And now what I'm going to do here is, this is the new brush that is going to be used. Okay, once I've placed all these parameters in there, I'm going to go ahead and click on new brush preset. Okay, watch what happens. And it'll ask me, do I want to name this soft elliptical 61? No, I want to call this by its dimensions. I'm going to say 60, 46%, 40, 45, whatever. 60 pixels. Okay, 60 pixels, 45 degree, and 46%. Okay, you can name it anything you want. This is my name. So I'm going to go ahead. Now if I want to include color, no, I'll decide what color is when the time I use it. So I'm going to click OK, and guess what? It appears right there. Or does it? If I collapse this, notice it didn't really appear inside that folder. So I'm going to have to grab it and bring it in there. There you have it. Okay, so now when I go ahead and expand this, there it is right there. Okay, and of course I can add more brushes. So let's say if I want to click on something like this. Okay, the brush is actually brought up here. Now I can collapse that. I can expand it a little bit. I can leave it like this. I can go ahead and make it bigger. There's obviously no hardness or softness in there. And now I go back over here and I go ahead and call it a new brush preset. And guess what? There it is right there. And there it is right there. And I got to do is drag it into that folder. Boom. So I've got two brushes in there, all done. Pretty darn cool. Okay, so now what if I wanted to add brushes from, like, say, an outside source? Well, let's look at this right here. Okay, back to the socket right here. Let's go ahead and click on it. Now, I want to import brushes. Okay, well, I have no brushes to import. I have to get more brushes to import. So let's go ahead and start with get more brushes and then import them. So I'm going to click here, and what happens is it goes to the Adobe website. All right, and you have to sign in, obviously, your picture or whatever is there. And one of my favorite things is the watercolor. There it is right there. So you click download, and it's absolutely for free, and it'll end up in your downloads folder. So I already did download this, and I'm going to show you. Here it is right there, watercolor right there. And what you got to do now is you got to put it into the Photoshop preset brush folder. Wow, where could that be? All right, well, let me show you. The best way I do for moving files from one folder to another is this, okay? I have two of these windows side by side, whichever folder structure you use. For the Mac, it's this guy right here, it's the Finder. For the PC, it's the Explorer. So I'm going to create a new folder, a new Finder window. Okay, so there's the new Finder window. I have it side by side, and I'm pretty sure you can do this with Windows too. So in the Mac, it's going to be in Applications, and there's Photoshop, and believe it or not, these icons are actually folders. Then there's Presets, and then there's Brushes. And as you can see, I have the watercolor, so I probably already dragged it over here, and there it is right there. So watercolor. So I dragged it from the Downloads folder into the Preset Brush folder. Alright, so at this point I'm just going to go ahead and remove the Finder window, and I'm going to go do this. I'm going to click on Brush again. Here's a downward arrow here, and now I am going to go ahead and click on this, the socket, and I am going to import brushes. There it is right there, and there's watercolor. I'm going to press OK, and there it is right there. And this is really cool. Look at this. I'll click on one of these brushes here. So look at that. It looks kind of very unusual. So I guess if I kind of did that, and it looks very bizarre, kind of a little twisted there. So at any rate, that's pretty much it for this section. There has to be a video part 3 for brushes. Hope you don't mind, but I love doing this. I hope you're learning a lot. Again, any comments, please let me know, and we'll see you in the next video.